one dramatic decision, but from tiny actions repeated every single day. That is the idea behind Atomic Habits by James Clear, a book that completely changed the way millions of people think about success, discipline, productivity, and personal growth. The book begins with a simple truth. Small habits may seem unimportant today, but over time, they create extraordinary results. Just like money grows through compound interest, habits also compound. Tiny improvements repeated consistently can completely reshape your future. James Clear explains that if you improve by only 1% every day, those improvements slowly build on each other. At first, nothing seems different. The progress feels invisible. But after weeks, months, and years, the results become impossible to ignore. Most people fail because they expect instant change. They go to the gym for a week and expect to look different. They study for a few days and expect mastery. When results do not appear quickly, they quit. But real growth is slow. Habits are like seeds planted underground. For a long time, nothing appears on the surface. Yet, beneath the ground, roots are growing stronger every day. Then, suddenly, growth becomes visible. One of the most powerful lessons in the book is this: you do not rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your systems. Everyone has goals. Millions of people want success, health, money, confidence, or happiness. But goals alone rarely change lives. The difference between successful people and unsuccessful people is not ambition. Often, they want the same things. The real difference is the system they follow every day. A writer becomes successful because they write consistently. An athlete improves because they train regularly. A designer grows because they continue creating, even when motivation disappears. The book encourages readers to stop focusing only on goals and start focusing on identity. Instead of saying, I want to run, say, I am a runner. Instead of saying, I want to write, say, I am a writer. Every action becomes proof of the person you are becoming. Every workout is a vote for being healthy. Every page you read is a vote for becoming smarter. Every hour of practice is a vote for mastery. James Clear then introduces the 4 laws of behavior change. The first law is simple: make it obvious. Human behavior is heavily influenced by the environment. If good habits are visible, they become easier to follow. If you want to read more, place a book beside your bed. If you want to drink more water, keep a bottle on your desk. If you want to practice an instrument, leave it somewhere easy to reach. The second law is make it attractive. People repeat behaviors that feel enjoyable. That is why habits become easier when they are connected to positive emotions. Listen to music while exercising. Study in a comfortable environment. Celebrate small wins. Enjoy the process instead of only chasing the result. The third law is make it easy. Many people fail because they try to change everything overnight. They create impossible routines and depend entirely on motivation. But motivation fades quickly. So the book recommends starting extremely small. Read 1 page, do 1 push-up, write 1 paragraph, meditate for 1 minute. The goal is not perfection. The goal is consistency. James Clear also introduces the 2-minute rule. Any new habit should take less than 2 minutes to begin, because starting is usually the hardest part. Once you begin, continuing feels much easier. The final law is make it satisfying. The human brain repeats behaviors that feel rewarding. That is why tracking progress can be so powerful. Small wins create momentum. They remind you that change is happening even when the results are not visible yet. The book also explains how to break bad habits, make them invisible, make them unattractive, make them difficult, make them unsatisfying. Remove distractions from your environment. Delete unnecessary applications. Add friction between yourself and negative behaviors, because discipline becomes easier when temptation becomes harder to reach. By the end of the book, one message becomes clear. Success is not built in one giant moment. It is built through tiny actions repeated daily for years. Small habits shape your confidence, health, relationships, career, and future. Every small action matters. And over time, those small actions become the person you are destined to become. That is the true power of Atomic Habits. The beauty of the book is that it feels practical instead of motivational. It does not ask you to become perfect overnight. It simply asks you to become a little better each day. Over time, those tiny improvements create confidence, discipline, and momentum. Eventually, the habits that once felt difficult become automatic, and the life you once imagined slowly becomes your reality. One day at a time. Imagine two people starting in exactly the same place. Both have dreams, both want success, both want better lives. One person decides to improve a little every day, while the other keeps waiting for the perfect moment to begin. At first, there is almost no difference between them. One extra workout does not change a body immediately. One page read does not create knowledge overnight. One day of practice does not create mastery. But after 1 year, the difference becomes enormous. The person who improves slightly every day becomes stronger, wiser, more skilled, and more confident. The other person remains trapped in the same routines, waiting for motivation to arrive. That is why habits matter so much. They shape your future silently. James Clear explains that every habit has 4 stages: cue, craving, response, and reward. First, something triggers your brain. That is the cue. Then your mind begins wanting a change. That is the craving. Next, you take action. That is the response. Finally, your brain receives satisfaction. That is the reward. Understanding this cycle allows you to redesign your behavior. If you want good habits, make the cues visible and the rewards satisfying. If you want to remove bad habits, hide the cues and increase the difficulty. The book also explains the danger of focusing only on outcomes. When people become obsessed with results, they often become discouraged. They only feel successful after reaching a milestone. Until then, they feel like failures. But Atomic Habits teaches a different philosophy. Success is not a finish line. Success is a lifestyle. A healthy person is not someone who occasionally diets. A healthy person is someone who builds daily habits that support health. A creative person is not someone who waits for inspiration once a month. A creative person creates consistently, even on difficult days. The power of habits becomes even more important during hard times. Anyone can work when they feel motivated. Anyone can chase goals when excitement is high. But true growth happens when discipline continues after motivation disappears. That is why systems are more powerful than emotions. Emotions change daily. Systems remain steady. The book also introduces the idea of habit tracking. Watching your progress creates momentum and satisfaction. Even simple actions like marking an X on a calendar can motivate you to continue. James Clear says that the important thing is never missing twice. Everyone makes mistakes. Everyone has bad days. Missing once is normal. But when one missed day becomes 2 weeks, habits begin collapsing. Consistency matters more than perfection. Throughout the book, the message remains simple but powerful. Your future is shaped by what you repeat every day. Tiny actions may feel meaningless now, but eventually they become your identity, your lifestyle, and your destiny. And perhaps that is why Atomic Habits became one of the most influential self-improvement books in the world. Because it gives people hope. It reminds us that change does not require extreme talent, unlimited motivation, or dramatic overnight transformation. Real change begins with one small decision repeated consistently. One page, one workout, 1 hour of practice, one better choice. And over time, those small choices build an entirely new life. In the end, the message of Atomic Habits is deeply human. People often underestimate how powerful small actions can become when they are repeated for years. We imagine success as one giant breakthrough, one lucky opportunity, or one dramatic moment. But the truth is usually quieter than that. Success is built in ordinary mornings when nobody is watching. It is built when you choose to practice instead of procrastinate. It is built when you continue even though progress feels invisible. Every repeated action becomes another brick in the foundation of your future. That is why habits are so important. They do not only change your schedule, they slowly change your standards, your confidence, and the story you tell yourself about who you are. A person who reads daily begins to see themselves as intelligent and curious. A person who trains consistently begins to feel stronger and more disciplined. A person who creates art every day slowly transforms from someone who dreams into someone who truly believes they are creative. Identity changes through repetition. And once identity changes, behavior becomes natural. By the final page, the book leaves readers with one unforgettable idea. Small habits are never truly small because they are shaping the person you become every single day. The lesson is simple. If you improve a little every day, your future will slowly transform. You do not need perfect timing, endless motivation, or huge changes overnight. You only need consistency, patience, and the courage to continue when progress feels slow and invisible. Keep moving ahead.